All right. Hold on. Let's just put it in pause. Hold on. Let's just start the podcast and we'll ask the question because this is you're gonna enjoy this. All right.
I feel like I always come on this podcast and just hate on Carolina Core for a while and then dip.
It is very much your vibe, and I love it. Hold on. We're gonna start this, and you're gonna explain on the podcast why.
Oh yay! Love that for me.
Hello and welcome to the Section 109 podcast. Here from Studio Breezy. After a 6-point weekend, we are here to celebrate a little bit, analyze a little bit. But first, before we go into vibes, I guess all the introductions, Sir Mix-a-Lot is here. Bubble Juan, the GOAT, the coach GOAT, is right there. Jim is here. Ellie has returned. We missed you, Ellie. Matthew is here. But more than anything, Jim asked a very pertinent question right before we started the podcast. Ellie, why do you hate the Carolina Core so much? I think you hate the Carolina Core more than anyone even likes the Carolina Core.
I'm just surprised that they have any fans or anything like that. It's crazy to me. Why do I hate the Carolina Core? I lived in North Carolina. I went to college in North Carolina, about 30 minutes away.
Right. I knew that.
From wherever their names exist.
High Point is.
Holt. Sorry. Crazy.
Are you referring to the climbing gym or?
I like the climbing gym. I have friends who work at the climbing gym. I do take issue though with the fact that there's a university, and I'm pretty certain I've talked with people from that university, and I'm pretty certain their eyes twitched when I asked them if they liked High Point. Like, if y'all have ever watched Avatar: The Last Airbender, and it's like the episode about Ba Sing Se, and it's like, we love Ba Sing Se, and like their eyes are twitching and they look like bugged out of their minds. I hate High Point. It's a cult.
Ellie, Stoned was right there.
I understand that. There's a reason I didn't go there. Thank you. Thank you for reminding me.
Ellie's a classy trash talker.
Oh, thanks. Much obliged.
So she has had an irrational hatred
for the community of High Point.
For the community, for everything they stand
Possibly for the entire triad.
For the entire, definitely.
For the triad.
I don't.
She goes, who is getting a team? The first time.
That's the thing. That's the thing that pisses me off most, though, is that, like, I live 30 minutes away from there. And, like, I would have loved to have a team while I was living there. And then the second I graduated and left, they put a team in.
Yeah. Like all good, true sports hatred.
It's irrational.
It's a little bit selfish.
Oh, it's 100% selfish. It's totally irrational, and I don't care.
And it's what makes it good.
I hope that they crash and burn in a fire. And I still can't believe you have a sticker for them. Like,
I don't have a sticker for them. I have a sticker for their lovely supporters who started to say this before the podcast and we just decided to start. So their supporters set up a tailgate for us. They were super nice. Then they helped us get into the stadium. By the way, their security is like super nice and super close to their supporters. So like they kind of coordinated together and they just made our lives really easy instead of like every other MLS Next Pro stadium, except for Huntsville, who we now have a good working relationship with and like have continued to build something. But their supporters don't even like seem to, I don't know, like help, I guess, us. Maybe they do. Maybe they said good stuff behind the scenes. But like Carolina Core supporters were like involved in being like, hey, what are you guys doing? Do you want any help? Can we like help you get in? Can we like, they just were like, the Southern hospitality was legit and they were awesome. And so I will not trash the Carolina Core supporters, the skulk.
We can.
Also, we got to get you to a Carolina Core away game.
I wanted to go this year, but it was in the middle of the school year and, teaching and stuff.
It's tough.
It is tough. There's another one.
Oh, is there another one this year?
Yeah, it's in August.
When in August?
Yeah.
Right when school gets back in session?
Starts,
Probably.
Yeah. It might be on a Sunday, too.
Stupid team.
But enough about Carolina Core.
Yeah, let's bring this back, actually. That was a nice segue to talk about like Huntsville.
Before we talk about Huntsville, I just want a vibe check. Coming out of a 6-point weekend, which I have no idea when the last time that happened. Jim, how we feeling? Pure vibes only.
Pure vibes? Oh, the vibes are good. Yeah, the vibes are good. Yeah, if you didn't watch the games, the vibes are good. Yeah.
Well, I mean, the vibe. I think if you watch the women's game, your vibes are even.
You could watch. Yeah, clearly, you can watch the women's game. Yeah.
By the way, if you missed the women's game, y'all missed out.
It was a goal fest.
It was fun. Ellie, how are your vibes coming out of a 6-point weekend?
I'm still trying to recover from y'all's energy. Like, y'all were a lot this weekend. There were multiple times where I thought that I was going to have to get down off the stand and, like, get in someone's face and scream at them. And which I did, but it was after the game, and it was you two who were acting like 2-year-olds.
Teacher voice.
Crazy.
See, here's the thing. It was
more performative anger than anything.
It was
absolutely
6-point weekend, so we couldn't be mad at the soccer. So we decided to be mad about something.
It was glorious. It was glorious. Matthew, how are your vibes coming out of by the way, she said, am I the head 10-year-old?
Y'all called me it was a weird weekend. Y'all were on something. I don't know what y'all were on, but
I know exactly what I was on.
Congrats.
I'd been on it since Thursday.
Congratulations.
He had a few drinky poos.
We started with the Lookouts game on Thursday. Had a few drinky poos. Had a lovely time.
Continued to do the same thing on Friday.
Just went straight into Friday with a nice gap for sleep and some of the daytime hours. It was awesome. It was great. No, listen, women's game was fantastic. Cathartic was a great word for it. It was just a fantastic performance, dominant, controlling. All of the
Alabama team had one shot in the first half. One shot.
Alabama.
Yeah, bingo.
Yeah.
So a little peek behind the curtain for anyone who wasn't in 109 with us. I thought UFA was in Alabama. And when I say thought, I mean I would have bet you, all the money in my bank account that I was positive they were in Alabama. Turns out they're from Atlanta.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we did Rammer Jammer.
Yes, you did.
And then we changed Rammer Jammer to Atlanta.
Thoroughly confused in the back.
Hey, by the way, everyone was confused except for me. And I was singing it loud. They were not from Alabama, but it didn't matter. Turned out we just beat them like they were from Alabama.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, that's the only Cheddar Hooligan chant I will never participate in.
That's fair. That's fair.
Until we figure out a way to do the hokey pokey.
No, I'll participate in the hokey pokey.
Is that a challenge?
Yeah, it is now.
Okay, bet.
You could say that's what it's all about.
No, listen. let's get back to it. The women's game. That was
Hey,
a
look,
great
our
joke.
bracelets match. Some very nice person made this for me.
The women's game was it was just overly dominant in a way that I don't think
in a way that I was struggling to believe.
expected.
I was struggling to believe that what was happening was actually happening.
Yeah, I kept waiting for the shoe to drop.
Same.
And this year's 2025 women's team may not be the previous year's women's teams. And I think we knew that from recruiting, right? But what we don't ever know is the quality of the other teams, the quality of the opponents, who they have available. Now, listen, UFA will have to go play them on the road at some point during the schedule. They may look a little different because, well, let's just be honest. They played a couple days prior.
Yeah,
Which I think should help them.
And
they had no bench.
And they had no bench. They had 3 subs.
But we were killing them from the third minute.
Yeah, well,
So here's where I think they might look different. Remember in the NPSL back in the day where we would have men's players and we would have guys joining us a week or two into the season sometimes, and we would see other teams that have guys join because they weren't out of school yet or whatever else.
Yeah.
So certainly UFA could change personnel wise.
You also have to remember, sometimes amateur players don't always travel. You might get 85% or 80% of your team available to travel.
They beat us at home last year at our place.
Yeah, I'm not talking about last year
6-2. I'm not saying it's the same team. What I'm saying is I expected the other shoe to drop because of that and because they only lost once last year.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Yeah.
But I'm just gonna pour a slight bit of cold water and say we have to see this kind of performance. I would like to see this kind of performance every week. But it's just so...
It's only one game.
It's only one game.
Yeah,
and it's such a scattered type thing that, we are missing... we had several players not make the match day squad who I kind of expected to. We've got a couple players who have not even been given numbers yet. So are they even in town? Are they coming? We see this all the time in amateur soccer. These things are always pretty fluid.
Well, this is why when we did the preview, I said we will know a whole lot after 2 games. But that was when I mistakenly thought the Decatur game was second. It's actually the 3rd game. And
Decatur's the big one.
Yeah, so maybe I'll say 3 games. We'll know a whole lot. No, those are all at home, which certainly makes a difference. But certainly it feels good now.
So I think one of the things that I realized they didn't have a lot of subs or whatever else, and they played 2 days before, but these are young athletes. Women's soccer, for whatever reason, how they have it organized around the Southeast is they play a lot of games like Friday, Sunday and stuff, which is 1 day between. I mean, they do some really, what I think is dumb stuff, but like they had a whole week to prepare, obviously. Then they had a game, which should have given them game sharpness. And then we went out and then demolished them.
Oh, yeah, we dog walked them.
So with how that went, like, it's not, who knows? They could have lost their 8 best players from last year, right? Like, who knows? But I do think this was a statement of intent. This was a statement of, like, this is a very different team at minimum than the past couple years. And I am really, really, really pleased and trying not to get too excited.
Yeah, that's the important thing here.
Okay, so now that we've done the vibes, do you want to roll straight into, which way do you want to go, Matthew?
I want to go back to Huntsville, and then I want to continue on the men's track towards New England, and then I want to go back and talk about the women's game. We've got a couple new women's players to introduce.
Mm-hmm. One of whom who played a very large role on Friday.
Like, 2 of them kind of did. I mean, like they both did. Like, well, one of them started immediately, so
that's what I was referring to.
But yeah, so let's go back to Huntsville, and just to like put a little bow on the supporters thing. Huntsville supporters, some of them are extremely welcoming and like try to take care of us and make sure we have tailgate if that's something we're interested in doing or whatever it is.
They're nice.
Were they wearing Nashville
and some of them,
or Huntsville jerseys?
And some of them
those are Huntsville.
Some of them just post AI slop and are weird and fight with everybody else, including, the good supporters. So there's that.
Yeah, they've got some interesting things going on down there. They've also moved their supporter section, which I think has, from my perspective and from learning a little bit, seems to have divided their supporters, which number one thing you need is unity. Unity, even if you're not you need to unify for the 90 minutes.
Yeah.
Like there are clubs, including every large club in the world will have many different ultra groups who will all mostly unify for the 90 minutes.
They'll figure out rotation.
And then they might even hate each other.
Yeah.
But and a lot of them, I think most places around the world, they actually just share the same chance. Here, it's where you have I think a little bit more of the rotation thing.
But isn't that the Nashville way, to have supporter groups that don't like each other and don't want to work together to do anything? Or am I just out in left field? Like, my understanding of the Nashville supporter groups
It's pretty common in MLS to have multiple supporter groups that come together for one thing. There was just one in Nashville. There was just one supporters group until they got popular.
Okay, I was
well,
sure.
then they immediately had 5.
Okay,
that's why they have their whatever they have their overarching name for the supporter section.
Like the Assembly or something like that.
Something dumb.
I think that's their anyway. Whatever. It doesn't. Let's not talk about Nashville. Let's talk about Nashville 3, not Nashville 1. So. This game was a continuation of the first game in the first half, except we were allowing shots from outside the box, not from inside the box, for the most part in the first half.
Yeah,
which was a slight improvement,
but they were really good shots. I mean, like I said, while I still am ticked that we don't have full match replays online. The 90 and 15 are they're good. They're at least a passable substitute. So I watched that again. I don't know if I just completely seeing their chances distilled into about 7 minutes. We were really lucky not to be 2-0 down. Maybe
I want a point of order on Breezy here. Huntsville, first half, shots inside the box, 9. Outside the box, 3.
On the 90 and 15, you see the 3 outside the box. I think that I think what happened is we blocked a lot of the ones inside the box, so they didn't feel as dangerous.
We blocked 3 shots in the first half.
Yeah, the first half was
4 of them were off target. 5 of them were on target. of the
First
9
half
that
was
did not get
traumatic.
blocked. But I will say I remember the shots being that got through and were on target were often outside the box.
Which I will always back Eldon to make those saves.
Yeah.
I'd rather
Yeah.
be giving out be like, and here's where I'm grading a little bit on a curve here. I'm not saying it's good. Like we were not great in that first half. It was terrifying. Also, we just kicked it long every time to get out of trouble, and like they just took it away. Like we never once got the second ball, and we just got dominated there. But in the first time we played them, and in the first couple games of the season, we were getting carved up, and then Eldon was bailing us out 1-on-1. And it was happening like 2 or 3 times a game, and sometimes 4 or 5 times a game. I mean, it was just insane. And while we're not playing as well defensively as I'd like us to play, and I have big concerns about as teams level up and as some luck maybe goes against us, I'll take outside the box shots and some of the chances that we're giving up now, where we're blocking a ton of them. We've got a ton of people in the way. We're forcing them into one little angle they can shoot into, and it's right at Eldon. We're just forcing a little bit different shots, so we've kind of changed how we're playing. I don't think we're playing good enough yet, but it's one of the reasons we're getting results, I do think, is because if you force them to shoot from outside the box or shoot in a little window, which Eldon is in the window, which we're doing by numbers, it's a more sustainable thing. Or a better thing than what we were doing in the first part of the season, which is just letting them carve us up, and then we were getting lucky that Eldon was just God level, God tier, taking the ball away.
There's a reason why shots that have a 2% or 3% chance of scoring goals don't score goals very often.
Thanks, math.
But like
Yeah,
those, if you let a bunch of those, even going up to like 10% chance shots, if you let a bunch of those in, or let a bunch of those happen, and you have a goalkeeper who is just to sum it up, like an absolute freak, like the XG that you start to accumulate, like goes up, like a tick here, a tick here, a tick here, but it's overall without like an absolute worldie. It's overall like not that dangerous, and it's certainly less dangerous than letting someone, you know, what you're talking about, like with some of those one-on-ones, like it's just less dangerous overall. And eventually someone's going to score. Like that's just how this works. But
yeah. And I wish, you know, I'm appreciate that we have some better stats through ASA and through other places, but you know, I wish I could see the post shot XG. So the not only the, you know, where the shot is, but where it was placed on the goal frame. To really, because that's where you can really see his, you know, the keepers.
If you check the Chattahooligans Slack or you check Reddit, Thomas, her brother, has done some fantastic. We're just calling him Ellie's brother from now on.
Sibling.
Ellie's sibling has done some fantastic work.
He did some post shot.
He did.
Yeah.
He corrected for before this last game. He corrected for post shot, and we're up 7 3/4 goals. And that's how many Eldon has saved.
Yeah. Oh, I see it. Yeah.
Now we're only 11 games in, so like we're still a little bit noisy, but things are starting to be significant. And what is very clear is that he is currently
the MVP.
He's the MVP of the season. If they give an MVP award right now and they didn't give it to Eldon, it would be we would need to check the bank account of whoever gave that award out for whoever's given them a bribe.
I'm ready for a match where he's not the man of the match.
Philly. The Philly 0-0 draw.
Okay. There's one.
We need more of them.
There's one.
Carolina Core away.
I don't remember. Right now, I don't remember that game.
That was the 4-1.
it's the only game that we've won by more
that
than
was
one goal.
They had a red card, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But we were good before that too. But once they got the red card, obviously that changed everything.
Yeah.
I'm nervous.
That was a little facetious.
I'm nervous, but I'm also like, I don't know. We've gotten so many points early that like hopefully when luck comes back against us.
Yeah. Well,
it's not last year.
I mean, there's not. Well, again, that's why you play two halves. I mean, I think the first half was really, really, really bad. But then you go into, you know, you want to see the team go in. You want to see the coaching staff make some adjustments. I think there were halftime changes were they in Huntsville?
So we went from a 3-5-2 to a 4-3-3.
Yeah.
They took out Logan and they put in, not because he was playing bad, because they wanted to change up
right.
and they put in Keegan and they dropped, I think, someone in the midfield. Mangarov, maybe? Screen. Who was playing wing?
I'll just pull it up for you.
We were playing a 3-4-3, I guess, maybe not 3-5-2.
But there's an immediate shift.
We got an extra man in the midfield. We immediately conceded on a cutback, which is the goal that we did kind of deserve to concede before.
Okay, so I've tried multiple times to see. Was that deflected?
Yes, it was deflected.
Okay.
So Matt and I were talking to Chris after the game briefly the other night, and he pointed out correctly that, like, yes, it's a cutback. Yes, it's dangerous, but like Eldon is saving that.
Yes.
Like the ball is going towards Eldon. He's already laid out. Like Eldon is going to save that.
The announcer talks about how hard. I mean, how clean of a shot it was. I mean, the guy kind of scuffs it. I mean, it's not a hard shot. It's
and you see,
Carlton should have done better with it.
You see,
and another day, like he cleans it and it's probably in, but he doesn't, and then it's deflected.
And it's deflected,
and that's what takes it away.
Right?
Yes, and you can see that it's deflected not only from the
wrong foot,
the bounce and the wrong foot exactly, but also if you watch how Nathan slams the ground, and then like lays face down for a minute, he's unhappy because he gets a block on it, but it goes in instead of going out.
So there was 2 subs made at halftime.
Oh, it was 2. Okay.
Nick Mendonça comes in for Logan Brown. We go to a back 4. Nick goes into midfield, which pushes Callum a little bit higher because Nick's playing alongside of Stevie. Mm-hmm. And then it's a 1-for-1 Keegan in at halftime for Minjay.
Okay. That makes more sense.
But I even think we had pressure before their goal. Like
we came out immediately, we were better.
Yeah.
And then they score really quick, but then I wouldn't say we dominated the second half, but we imposed our will in periods in the second half.
Well, let's just put it this way. Possession was 75-25 in the first half.
Yeah.
It was 65-35 in the second half.
Yeah.
We went from 12 shots to 0 shots to 7 and 7.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a marked difference.
And if you remember, we had 3 straight corners once. We had a couple corners another time. We had about 4 block shots in 2 different possession sequence before finally Mango gets his goal. We have 3 straight corners, and then we get a corner a minute later, and that's when the goal is coming. The second one, maybe not, and then of course the penalty happening and Eldon just doing Eldon shit, like
it's a bad pin, but it's a good save.
I've rewatched it, and I'm not sure.
It's a good height. It's a good height for him to save it. I mean, if that's low,
he just reads it.
Yeah,
I mean, it could go under. It could go under him, but he reads that. He knows the direction.
Height. Yeah, it's
he
a
knows
good
the
height
direction
for him to save it.
It's why you don't let the right back who drew the penalty and is your captain take the penalty.
I will say
some amateur shit.
Something. So we only created really one thing from open play in that game, which that we're one open play creation against Huntsville in each of those games. That's not an exact retelling. I want to talk about the set pieces though in the second half. Because it's not just Kohler's goal in the 60th, 61st minute, whenever it was.
Fareed has one that
the
goalkeeper makes an excellent save.
That's a nasty save.
Unbelievable.
Where he goes down to his left.
Exactly.
Right after we concede, we earn a corner, and then that ball's in. And I mean, extremely lucky to not equalize in that moment.
Unlucky.
We were unlucky. They were lucky.
Bingo.
Yeah, that's what I mean. And then you see it again. Kohler's able to get free.
It's a great header.
He just unbelievable bits of service from Tate in this game. And then you go back to
every game right now
to the game winner, and it's another corner kick. Ball served in. It's recycled out. We maintain possession and immediately continue the phase of play. And Keegan gets an opportunity there where he's able to get free and try to get a shot off, and it's blocked. And that's the ball. That's why the ball's bouncing a little bit towards Mango. And Mango does what Mango does, and he just hits the shit out of the ball.
It's so good. And so Mango has that thing that strikers have where they never remember that they missed the last one. Like, his confidence is just... So he hit, I don't know if you guys remember, he hit 2 or 3 similarly, just that were blocked a few possessions before that. He just kept shooting. He was just smashing the ball and they just kept blocking it. And he just kept shooting and it finally went through and just right in the corner. And it was that was the plan all along. And it's just wonderful to see the confidence and the belief in the entire squad that they dominated us for 3 straight halves. Obviously we won the first game, but 3 straight halves they had dominated us, and we were just like imposing our will then in the second half with like belief that like doesn't matter what they did in the first half. We bent, we did not break. Now we're going to go score again. And like we did. That goal was coming. I don't know if we would have scored it, but like the momentum wise, like we were still pushing for it. We weren't going, okay, we got to draw, let's sit back. It was like, no, we're going for this other goal. Like we look like we broke their will just a little bit. We broke their confidence just a little bit. They were no longer that like Huntsville thing where they were, I don't know, arrogantly standing on the ball. Once we got that set piece goal, they were a little rattled.
This team appears to have that thing right now where like you kind of like, I feel like the opposition like just feels that they know it's coming. They don't know how. And if you're a stat head at all, it's inconceivable because like this shouldn't keep happening. Yeah. But like their spirit just broke when Kohler scored. And they got their chances, and then like, Eldon does Eldon things and stands on his head a little bit. And like you can just feel the like, oh, come the fuck on. Like, is this really going to happen again? And it keeps happening. And that's a fun psychological thing. For stat nerds like us, we're always waiting for the other part to go. But like sometimes belief, vibes, and the power of friendship is all you need.
I was wondering if you're going to go there.
I was going to say that seems to be the theme of this whole year is like we have a really strong, very well-connected team that's really, really, really seems to kind of put their heads down, really, really push through everything. Believe that Eldon's going to take the rest of it. And statistically, I mean,
so far
our stats are not looking, our XG's not fantastic, but saves are amazing. And they are tough and they're going to fight through it. And so we're winning.
Also, so many times this season, we have had a bad half followed by a good,
really good halftime adjustments.
Yes. Which again, I think is what I take. Well, what I take from that game is that we were not good in the first half, but we came back in 60-40 is about what I would expect. We were 65-35 in the second half.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what you get that's what we're going to get right now, the way we play when we play Huntsville. That's fine because I think with that 35%, we can create. But
it's when you have 25%.
Yeah, that was
like that extra 10% really does matter for taking a little bit of pressure off, for allowing, that's multiple more possessions and a little bit more time to let your defense like rest and recover and then go again. And like Huntsville's one of those teams now with Nashville's new philosophy. Like Huntsville's one of those teams where they really putting it into motion, and like they're not just playing, first team contracted, 18-year-olds, 17-year-olds.
They're not playing any of them.
They're playing
literally none of them.
They're quite clearly playing none of them, and I don't know if they're trying to force them to make them like level up or whatever it is. Like I don't care, but like they're putting out a really good product, and they're as old as we are almost. Yeah,
like they don't have a 40-year-old goalkeeper, but outside of that, like outside of the 40-year-old goalkeeper, like their average age is
24, something like that, 23, 24.
23, 24, 25.
I mean, it's just a tick below us. But like they're going out there. They've got a really good group. They were obviously hindered not having Kofi.
Yeah.
Thank God
for that game. I mean, he's a phenomenal player. But like we've now shown twice that bend, don't break, make the big play, make the big block, make the big save, and then have the clinical finish when you get the one sliver of a look.
Also, this game was a lot different because that first game, they didn't have a penalty and they probably created close to like 3 XG. This game, they had a penalty, and including that penalty, it was like 2.3 or whatever, which means like we just, the kind of chances they were creating that first game when we were just skin of our teeth, just holding on, like
Yeah.
This game, I'm not saying we were good, but I have a theory. I've gone and watched quite a few of the 1915s. I've watched all of Huntsville's. I've watched a couple of Huntsville's actual games. I am not convinced that anyone outside of Philly and Huntsville are good in the East. Now, there's time for that to change because these teams will come together, they're whatever else. But I am convinced that two teams are actually good besides us. And by the way, I don't know what we are. I don't think we're as good as those two teams, if I'm completely honest. I think Huntsville and Philly, I think Huntsville's the best team in the East, and I think Philly's second best. And
The table doesn't lie, Breezy.
damn right. Well, currently we are the best team in the East. But what I'm saying is I think the Huntsville, you see the Huntsville, it's really good that we got 6 points. It's really, really good. It's a little lucky.
Do we play them 3?
We'll play them once more.
Yeah.
But the Philly game, though, if we want to look back a little bit, Philly game gives me a little more hope because I do think the Philly's really good. I've watched them play against a bunch of different teams.
I think that's the best performance of the year. So I know it's a draw, but
we were clearly the better team in that game. And so, it gives me a little bit of hope that, we're still not quite who we are. Also, shout out Darwin getting his first start.
Yes.
Yeah, so let's just move on straight to New England here.
Let's go.
We've beat the Huntsville Rocket to the point of extinction.
Thought you were gonna make a way worse show. Keep going. You're doing great.
No, I'm not gonna.
We're doing beating Rockets.
I'm not gonna space force a joke onto you.
That was still not as bad as I was fearing, so I'll take that.
So New England, Saturday, a 1-0 win. Eldon in goal, Tate at right back, Fareed, Nathan Kohler, Milo Garvanyan.
We switched to a 4-3-3 in this.
We switched to a 4-man here. Nick Mendonça back in the starting lineup with Callum Watson and Robert Screen. Darwin Ortiz making his first ever start. At least competitive start for CFC. Mangaroff on the left, and then Peter Plowman in the middle. And this game, kind of interesting.
This game has similar vibes to the first Huntsville game.
Yes.
It's not quite as bad.
It's not because possession ended up being 65-35.
Which I was surprised by when I saw that.
But New England, so here's my summation of this game. New England were good, and we were bad.
Fatmob has it at 38% possession, by the way. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think we were bad in this game.
Mm-hmm.
I think, but that I'm less upset about. I'm annoyed by that, but less upset about that because we gave two of their biggest chances, or their two biggest chances, two of their three biggest, or their two biggest, are just dumb giveaways from us, which we really haven't done, and we really don't do a lot.
Yeah.
Which tells me we can correct those things, and if you correct a few of those things on a different night, because you're going to have off nights, we can just handle them better than we handled them. Now, we were very lucky to come out of this game with 3 points. We're probably lucky to come out with 1 point.
Here's the thing. The New England game is a perfect encapsulation of us being different than we were at the beginning of the year. We gave up a crap load of shots in this game, right? Mm-hmm. But only one of them was worth what Opta will classify as a big chance.
It's 2 from my rewatch.
Well,
Opta might be full of shit, but also Opta gave Atlanta 8 big chances when they had about 3. So Opta be opting.
Yeah. Oh, well, listen, you can opt into that one if you want to. I
walked right into that one.
A lot of the shots that we're giving up, they're from a little bit tighter angles. They're from further out. They've got 7 people in front to block them. That also means that it's a little bit harder for us to win the ball back and break out effectively because we have the numbers behind the ball. But also we had a lead, and we got a lead because we scored in our first shot of the game.
And we also, that goal we created.
Well, that's a nice goal.
And that's a big chance.
And what's the biggest of chances? I didn't see it live. Ellie didn't either.
I didn't watch any of these games, for the record. I would just like to state that.
Ellie does not watch the games.
I have not
Ellie
seen a
fully
game.
Is fully stat head. She doesn't watch any of the games.
Never.
So I didn't see that. So when I saw it later, I was shocked at how just perfect it was.
Oh yeah, we carved them apart.
And Eldon just waits, and he plays a beautiful ball perfectly to Tate. Tate perfectly turns, does just the most beautiful pass. Peter Plowman finishes that like it's Like he's playing against children.
I'm going to add something that's really important here. If you don't mention this goal without bringing up the pick that Darwin sets, you're missing out because that's how Tate is open. The ball's coming from Eldon. Now he sees the run of Tate, like he's playing that ball for Tate, but Darwin makes a little bit of a challenge on it and sets a pick. And New England's left back has stepped up to go with Darwin. The ball is going to go over his head, and Darwin just stays there, like holds the space, like kind of acts like he's going to challenge for it, but it's over his head. Like he's essentially set a pick, like a legal pick, which puts the left back out of position, which allows Tate all of a sudden to have all that extra space and time to pick out the run of Peter. And he plays such an audacious ball that like nobody is getting to that unless Peter gets to it, right? Like the defenders aren't getting there.
It's just wonderful.
And that's the kind of belief, that's the kind of like quality that Peter knows that Tate can play. And Tate knows that like, I'll put this thing where only Peter can get to it. And if Peter does get to it, it's going to be first time. It's going to be impossible for the goalkeeper to save unless it's right at him. And that's what happens. It's just brilliant stuff. And so many times this year, we have created one big chance fairly early, and that's just been enough. And when you're clinical, sometimes that is all you need.
Did you see the replay of this one yet?
No, I have not.
I will find it for you on Matthew's phone.
Oh, thank you.
You need to see this because it's awesome.
But like that pick sets him 10 yards away. No one gets anywhere remotely near.
Oh, that's nice. I also I want to mention the watching Plowman and how much he has gained confidence and how much. Yeah, I heard the song in my head too.
I don't think he gained confidence.
I don't think.
I think he was fine.
At least.
I think he was fine before.
Also, shout out to Peter's mom who was at the tailgate.
Oh yeah, I heard.
And in the section.
Yeah, and she said something before the game where she was like, talking about like the weather or whatever, and she was like, "Oh yeah, like maybe a little rain tonight. Like he'll love this." And I thought about that when he scored. And it's like drizzling a little bit. It's like, yeah, that dude loves this kind of stuff.
This freaking unit. I mean, just after his celebration, and he's just
I love that he celebrates so hard that no one touches him until he's done celebrating.
Like a heel click that could probably break a hole in the universe.
Yeah, but I'll
he's just out there like.
It's the best. It's so good. I'll piggyback a little bit on what Ellie said. I do think there's a little bit where he's kind of taking that spot and he's kind of taking the offense. And I'm not going to say I'll agree with Jim that like I think he's always had the confidence, but I think now you see the rest of the team has more confidence, which is the same vibe I think you're going for. Is like the whole team believes more because he's in there now.
I think it's just such a different vibe than we've had in that position, and I think it was a shift, and it's nice to see that shift working so well now.
And I think it's a whole vibe for the whole like front line too.
I agree.
Like I think all of them, like Tate gets forward there and takes the chance to get forward there in part. I can only say this, I'm assuming, but like because it's Peter getting forward.
Yeah.
Like you see guys making the pass long to Peter because they believe that Peter will win it. You see guys committing to a run because, it's just, it's a whole different vibe.
Now, I'm not going to lie. If I was on that soccer field and I saw Peter Plowman running at me,
the other way.
I would cry.
I think some of those defenders wanted to cry.
I hope so. It reminds me a lot of Anatoly last year. Like, if Anatoly was coming at me in the box, I would...
Yeah.
Yep, it's yours. You're right. I'm so sorry. I am in your way.
Can you imagine the practice battles that would happen if Anatoly was still here?
Oh my God.
I want to point out something as we kind of come to the end of these two games. Because we're at 11 games in, who do you think is our leader in goal contributions?
Oh, I know the answer to this.
Mangarov, right? That's the name I keep hearing and keep having to chant over and over again. But I could be
Tate?
wrong.
It's Tate.
Is it Tate?
Is it Tate?
Tate with 11.
Do we have we figured out Tate's chant yet?
Here's to you, Mr. Robertson. Nuga loves it when you score a goal.
We had it.
Or we did assist to goal, which is one extra syllable, but it's more fun.
Okay. We did it the other day. I just forget. There's so many of them. I forget our chants frequently.
So Tate's at 1 goal, 6 assists, and 4 hockey assists.
Here we go.
Yeah, you know where this Jim. You knew where this was going.
Even
You knew
if,
immediately that math didn't add up. He didn't have 11 and 11.
even if you took out hockey assist, he's still the leader with 7.
Yeah, he's got 7.
Peter's got 4 goals and an assist. Mankarov has got 3 goals and 2 assists. Keegan's got 3 goals and 2 assists.
Because they assist each other.
The Keegan Mangarov connection continues, including in that Huntsville game, because he's the one who ends up giving the ball via deflection to Mango.
Yeah.
It's so good.
You gonna give him a hockey assist for that?
No, you don't get a hockey. You do get an assist.
Here we go.
If the goalkeeper
assist.
No, you get an assist if the goalkeeper saves it and you get a rebound from someone else's shot. That counts as an assist. But if a defender blocks it, it does not count.
Okay.
It goes down as unassisted. By the way, in case you're curious out there, and you're like, hang on, 1 goal and 6 assists, the club said that Tate has 5 assists on the season. That's because Hayes is doing his job. And and this little inside soccer here, but the stats provider for MLS Next Pro
We complained about this in the podcast.
has not given
Marcus his due goal that he got against Atlanta.
correct. And then correspondingly Tate his assist. But the good news is I get to write history, and I am right and unequivocally
We are
right. So
I have a freeze frame of Marcus hitting the ball, first of all. And then also we get a better angle than the camera live. Like Marcus hit the ball. Marcus celebrates the defender.
Was that a questionable own goal? Or
Yeah, they called it an own goal.
Okay.
It was not an own goal.
they oscillated between Marcus goal, own goal, a Tate goal. Like they oscillated through. Like,
they
3
eventually
different
gave it to
iterations.
Tate, which was, Marcus stole Tate's goal, but
Yeah.
it
So
counts as a goal and an assist.
anyway, that's why, like, officially for the record, for history, it's a goal and 6 assists thus far this season for Tate.
Matthew, what is the all-time CFC men's primary assist record in a season? And I mean real assists, not your assists.
In a season, it's James Kasak in 2019 with 9 assists, or 2021 with 9 assists in competitive matches.
And how many does Tate have in competitive matches?
6.
Come on, Tate.
We still got a lot of a season
well,
left.
yeah,
He does. Also, those two were boys on the same team, so it's nice that they...
Yeah, that was fun. They
It's Tate who told us that Jimmy Two Phones exists.
I actually pulled this up last night because I was curious. Tate's up to if you count the one in preseason, which we do for like big global records, he's up to 14 assists for the club now in his 3rd season. That puts him into like top 12, top 11, top 12, somewhere in there for players all time.
So for Kasak, not that this diminishes, he wasn't taking corners though, right?
Sometimes.
Yeah, he took
he take corner? I
only
can't
from the
remember.
one side. Only from the one
Okay.
side. He took them... Which side?
I
Anyway,
just remember it seemed like for a little while.
We didn't score on corners.
Every goal was and every goal was
We
assisted
we
by
did,
him.
by the
it
way.
was. Every goal was assisted by him.
I mean, that's what it felt like.
It was him to Marcus every time.
Yeah.
But we didn't score. Marcus wasn't scoring, and Kasich wasn't assisting.
Yeah.
We weren't.
I just didn't remember him, or maybe us.
Was it not
scoring.
Marcus? Why are you staring at me?
Marcus
in
didn't come
19.
till the next year, right?
No, Marcus was there, but those were not the patterns that were happening. When he was assisting, it was to, number one, there was a corner. It was to Nick Spielman. But it was like Ian McGrath in the spring portion of the season, Brian Bement, like Sean Hofstadter once. Like it was Bement.
The pronunciation changes, considering his
It was Beeman. I just never got it right
after
his entire time.
But the pronunciation changes when you change clubs.
Yeah,
I think he's playing-
his TST club really changed the way we like to think about him.
Yeah,
True.
yeah.
That's true. Actually, speaking of TST, while we're just here, I saw that Aiden Bowers is going to play in TST this
he
summer.
is?
I think
Alec
Beto
Redding.
Alvarenga is going to play as well.
Nice.
Alec Reddington's going to play. It's going to be fun.
It's gonna be fun.
It's going to be real fun.
That
That's
is
coming up in
such a fun tournament.
It's coming up in a couple weeks.
I
here.
cannot wait.
All right, so let's wrap up the men real quick here. So we're sitting right now after 11 games,
With 1 million points.
8 wins, 1 loss, 2 draws. One of those draws is a penalty kick shootout victory. One of those draws is a penalty kick shootout loss. Excuse me. We're at 27 points total. which is 2.45 points per game.
That's just nuts.
18,
Long may it continue.
18 goals scored and 10 goals given up, which is a goal difference of 8, and that's good for, I think, third in the East right now.
All praise Eldon.
Yeah, so like really, really good place. If you think back to last year, at 14 games at the halfway point, we were at 28 points accrued. So we're ahead of.
We're 3 games. We have 3 games to get one more point.
Where does 10 goals conceded put us defensively?
I'm glad you asked. Tied for second.
Okay.
Huntsville and us have
Because
conceded.
that to me, that's the story right now. This
Phillies.
I will
Phillies in
remind you that
first.
Phillies got
6. They've conceded 6, right?
yep, in 8 games.
Yeah.
So they've got a few
They've got to
games
play 3
in hand.
games, but they've only conceded 6.
Yeah.
Huntsville's conceded 1 in each game average, and then we've got 10 and 11. So
Yeah, that's Huntsville's Achilles. They're good going forward, but they do give up a goal. They've had like 3 or 4 draws already. So.
Yeah, they're doing the
4
opposite. They're doing the opposite of us. They get their goals in like a bunch of goals in one game, and then they just like hit the woodwork and can't score in another game. We're like perfectly spacing out our goals to win.
it's fun.
Which hell yeah, brother.
All right, the men's team will be on the road in Orlando. I think we play on Sunday,
Where's-
June 1st.
Where's that watch party? I wonder.
I don't remember. But
It's all
I
good.
will be in California, so I hope you guys enjoy it. Let's move on to the women's game now to actually deep dive it.
Let's go.
Season opener on Friday. UFA Gunners of the Atlanta area and a 5-0 win where CFC got off the board early in the 3rd minute.
Did you say Atlanta?
Atlanta area.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Scoring again in the 18th and the 34th minute, and then the 59th and the 85th to put a bow on top. Starting lineup was Maddie Smith, getting the nod in goal. Bella Valentine from Lee University at right back. Jordan Crockett was the right center back
She and captain.
She
was awesome.
at left center back, Kai Yoneda. Left back was Kaylee Smith.
And Kaylee was
She was really good.
Yeah, she's really good.
The whole offense ran through her for most of the game.
The starting group double pivot was May Hunt and Hannah Tillett. Hannah was announced.
freaking good.
Hannah was announced on game day.
Yeah, no,
which was
and
awesome.
She was low key awesome.
I rewatched the entire game, and I did not realize how dominant those 2 sixes were.
Yeah.
They won every ball. They kept every ball. They dictated the rhythm. They were immense.
Yeah, Todd mentioned her to me. He's like, "Are you watching this?" Because he loves a defensive midfielder, and I mean, I hadn't.
I knew she
but-
was good in the game, but then on rewatch, it's like
Yeah,
it's
she's-
insane.
The 10, we were playing a 4-3-3. The 10 was Kennedy Ball.
Who
I think
also
we were
was
playing
insane.
a 4-2-3-1 according to the lineup graphic.
Shut up. The right winger was E.G. Dillard. Also, E.G. just had a birthday recently. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday! That's also a great name.
Left wing,
Sounds like a department store.
It does.
Annalisa Vincent. And then at striker was Reese McDermott. On the bench, and everybody from the bench played in this game.
Multiple times, Breezy.
Kylie Hall, goalkeeper. Casey Vigil, Billie Jean Davies, Ryan Renee. I should have looked that up.
It's twice in a row
What?
that you've been like, I wish I knew how to say her name.
Yeah, and then I'm going to go see if there's a pronunciation guide right now. It is...
How much you want to bet he found the pronunciation guide but doesn't know how to read it?
No, I
Do
don't
you
think
need
there is
someone to
one.
read that for
Does
you?
it have? Is it has use the phonetic alphabet?
I don't think there is a pronunciation guide yet. I apologize. And
Well, whichever way he's saying it, it's definitely the other one.
yeah, Brady Livingston, Anik Lolita Mangazuma.
She was fucking fun. She did that little spin move, went around the girl. She had another she was awesome.
Tori Sautuyo, Ella Attaway, and Eliza Dean. That was the bench group. Everyone got in. Yeah, I mean, like we kicked the shit out of them. It was awesome.
We beat them so bad we invented the new chant for sauce.
That's true. We did. We did do that.
The sauce is too spicy.
So let's go.
I'm not sure I loved that one, but that's okay.
I adore that one. It's the best.
Y'all had a few chants this weekend that I was like, okay.
that
was a thing.
That was gonna grow on you.
Sure.
CFC gets the scoring off in the 3rd minute with Reese McDermott off of a throw-in from Kaylee Smith. Ball bounced in the box, and Reese is just first to it.
Just very Fox in the box.
Kind of hits her side, goes in. Absolute pandemonium, mostly disbelief. I think I turned.
Mine was pure confusion.
It's clearly off of her side, but in the moment, I turned to Breezy and I was like, I love that she just like smacked the shit of that thing with her hand.
I was wondering if we were upon rewatch. I was like, I'm glad that they didn't like really pay attention to that. I was like, is that going to be would that have been a problem if they decided to like pause? Like, you're not.
No. It was clearly like it's clearly
enough.
not off of her hand.
I think it's like off ribs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's something.
Are you worried about VAR with WPSL?
Oh yeah, 100%. I'm terrified.
They can't even do subs right.
18th minute, we've got it. I think Kennedy earns a free kick on the edge of the box. Hannah Tillett just puts a low cross in.
That was Reese that earned the Reese McDermott. I'm pretty sure they're in the free kick. Right on the edge.
Hannah Tillett puts in a low cross across the face of the 6.
And if you rewatch it, they're looking at each other, and Kennedy's being like, she's like doing arm motions on like, but kind of like so the defender can't see. She's doing them like in front of her because the defender's behind her when she's about to kick it. And to me, she's clearly telling her like, put it in to me, and then she just puts it on the ground,
just right in this little space right here. And then ball comes in. Kennedy backheels it. It's a goal. It's sick.
It's awesome.
Gabe,
Go listen to Gabe's call. It's
Gabe's
awesome.
call is fantastic. Shout out
He was
Gabe.
so excited. Shout out Gabe. It was amazing.
34th minute, we win the ball back through Reese McDermott, just poking it to Rene. And good ball, just a real simple ball to Kennedy to create a really nice transition opportunity. And Kennedy just starts running at the defense, and the defense shows her a path, and she takes the path and then buries the ball bottom corner. A great little piece of individual skill, and two goals on her CFC first team debut, which you love to see. Second half, a little bit calmer, a little bit. I mean, like still dominating, controlling, whatever, but like a little bit calmer. 59th minute, Reese McDermott just takes the ball from midfield and just runs and passes up several nice passing opportunities so that she can shoot and score.
It's awesome. It's one of those where you're like, pass it.
Great shot.
That's a striker.
Fantastic.
It's so good. It's exactly what you want from a striker, actually.
I'm assuming this is where we make the goalkeeper change to get Kylie Hall some action as the backup.
Yeah, because none of us saw it in live time until we just looked over and we're like, oh.
I also sprinted as soon as Reese scored. I didn't even celebrate. I just sprinted to grab another round of beers for us. So
Well, because he said no more beers, and I said if we score again, 2 more beers. And he said, deal.
it was awesome. 85th minute, great ball, great outlet ball to get into the phase of attack from May Hunt out to Eliza Dean, who would just this is before that, who takes it all the way to the byline, cuts it back inside the 6, and Elisa Vincent has just been making the run.
Well, she beats the defender.
It's the easiest tap in.
She brings the defender and the goalkeeper out, and then it's just that's the highest of high XGs.
Yeah.
Dead center, 1 yard out.
It's beautiful.
He said that's a higher XG than Greg Stratton's tap in, which a few of you sickos might remember.
So yeah, 5-0 off to the races. In an 8-game regular season, getting wins, getting goals, it's massive.
That goal difference could come back to be very important.
It could. Now, we did have 2 new signings that I want to talk about and give them their due. The first is Anik Lolita Mangazuma. She was announced. if you listen to this podcast last week, and you're like, hey, you guys didn't talk about her. That's because she was announced like 3 hours after we stopped recording. Anik is a 5'6" forward from Edzin Sa, Cameroon, at Alcorn State University, where she's teammates with Grace. What's her? She didn't make the bench. Grace Ambrose.
Where is Alcorn State?
Mississippi.
Mississippi. Okay.
Yeah. Anik is a Cameroon U20 international.
Well, I think she might be a
Mississippi.
higher than U20. Okay, cool. I think she might be a regular full international pretty soon if she's going to play like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Just sauce for days. No goal contributions, but like created some crazy dangerous stuff.
So she had the cross over. I think, pretty sure she has the cross that Kennedy Ball hits with her left foot, just smashes it, but it's over the bar.
Oh yeah.
Which would have been a wonderful assist and goal. It just takes a little too high of a bounce, and she kills it, and it goes slightly over.
Yeah, just real brilliant. Coming off the bench there, and,
also,
played some good minutes.
There's a thing that like some of the wingers have. Like if you look in the Premier League, like the winger that's come back, the Jack Grealish, the Jeremy Doku, the like. I guess Savinho to a certain extent. Those are all Manchester City players, but like Saka with Arsenal, the guy that can beat somebody, like, and she proved that like I'm going to turn and get faced up with this defender, and I'm going to beat them. And she,
Salah.
yeah,
You want to put like basically the best.
yeah,
the
absolutely,
best
that works too. Like she just kept beating the winger. She was like, all right, face up and bye. And it wasn't just with speed; it was trickery, it was speed, it was fakes, it was awesome. And that's a thing that, like, I mean, just coming off that she didn't start, right? Like that's a thing that I don't know that we've had that kind of change of pace the last couple of years. It's certainly not, change of style, because our other wingers like were good, we were great, even, but they didn't do that specific thing. So to bring her on against girls that were already like not keeping up was both very rude and wonderful.
Yeah. The other player in the starting lineup announced on game day was Hannah Tillett. Hannah Tillett, 25-year-old central midfielder from Indianapolis, Indiana. She spent her first 2 years of college at MTSU, scoring 18 goals and having 14 assists in 36 games over 3,100 minutes. She then transferred to the University of Tennessee, not a small college soccer program. Where she scored 3 goals and 6 assists in 36 more games, over 1,700 minutes. She went on to play professionally in Iceland for a team in Reykjavik. She also then came back after that season and played for California Storm in I think the summer of 2023, before going back to Scandinavia to play for Sundsvalls in Sweden.
What a name.
And then she transferred for the next season. She transferred to Piteå, also in Sweden, where her season likely wrapped up. I'm guessing sometime in semi-recently in the spring. But Sweden might actually be on the other calendar. I'm not 100% sure how they do all of that.
You don't know how to do the exchange rate calendar to calendar?
I really don't. No. But like there's this quote in Hannah's announcement that's attributed to her, and I think it's really, really cool, and I wanted to read it for you guys. She says, after moving to Chattanooga as an adult, it is hard to miss the type of grand support CFC has from the community. I have always wanted to be a part of it. Playing overseas, you see communities come together in these cozy stadiums that have been standing since before you would believe. Cheering and chanting the entire game, living for the local team's matches is the standard. It is the same level of devotion and commitment I feel with CFC and Chattanooga. Now, I'm not sure when she's talking about moving to Chattanooga. I don't know if that's after playing professionally and she just moved here and then decided she wanted to play for the summer, or maybe in between teams, she just moved here and got a job or whatever it is. But that's the thing we've all spent our time trying to foster and put together. And on the men's professional side, they're here for 10 months. They might go home for an off season, but like they're here for so long. But like this women's team now reminds me, what we're trying to build with the women's team now reminds me so much of what things were like in those first 10 years for the men's team, where the matches are for 2 months or for 3 months. But, players that come, whether it's to try to showcase to go pro, whether it's just because they're trying to get minutes for their college, they come, they see it for whatever reason, they end up here and they see it. And it just holds on to them a little bit, and they don't really want to give it up. And they keep coming back to play. And on a lot of cases, they decide to make this their home. And I'm hoping that what we've started here is more of that we make more Chattanooggans through soccer, and in turn making our community better.
I will say, Hannah came up to me at the end of the game to introduce herself and say how much she loved the Chattahooligan section and how awesome it was to hear the support and the cheering, and was like that doesn't. I've been doing this for a hot sec. That doesn't happen very frequently. Like people just like the players just like coming up, especially to me. Like I don't see that very frequently. It was so cool to see, and I kind of hope she comes up on the stand and joins with the section at the very end for a celebration. Like she was so chill. It was one of the nicest things. I thought I was gonna cry.
I love that.
So excited.
I love that so much.
So, yeah.
There's also a thing that happens in women's soccer where like supporters and women's soccer's like not as far along as for men's soccer, so it's not as expected. So you watched the celebrations at the end of the game, the Chattahoochee Lows, and like they were, and obviously the vibes were like here because we had just won 5-0, but like they were pumped and we were pumped and like we were feeding off each other, and that was really cool, and that is really cool.
The women came up much closer than the men do this season. I'm gonna shout out the women's team for that. The men's team, y'all got to step up closer. Y'all are so far away. You look terrified of us.
The men are a little too cool right now.
They're a little too cool for school. I keep having to be like, come on, just a little closer. It's okay. We don't bite. I promise.
Pay attention to how the women did it because that ruled.
They
and that's
did
how it's supposed
so
to be.
well.
You also had a CFC men's team legend in Juan Hernandez as the coach.
Yeah.
So you see them like gather up to huddle up after the game in the initial celebration. They huddle up together, and you can see Juan
him
like
explaining what's about to happen,
pointing over to us and saying, like starting to do the thing, like preparing them for, hey, we just won. Like you get a couple cracks at this. Let's do the thing.
If you watch the video at the end of the game, but when they start it, they're doing the classic soccer throw your hands up, because this is like the soccer throw your hands up, like when they're coming over, because that's what they think they're gonna do, and then you can watch them learn through the thing that we do like this. It was beautiful. It was wonderful, and like those moments are what makes this different, right? It's what make things for me that makes this special. Spending that time together and celebrating together, it's just beautiful. And for everyone who doesn't know, that's a player designed chant. Like the players invented that back in 2015. The men's players did as an idea. We carried it in and like did it as a celebration together, and it continues as a tradition that's like ours collectively. And long may it forever continue.
Next up for the women's team, they'll be back home on Friday against Georgia Impact at 7 p.m. If you're around, you got to make it out for that.
No excuses. There's no men's game.
If you're not, if you like are a classic men's a men's team follower, but haven't really ever dipped your toes into the women's team, dip your toes in. Dive all the way in. It's worth it. It's special. This season might be something to watch.
I know, especially I have a lot of friends who are really getting into women's sports. And like, this is a great way to do it. This is a great team to support. The Chattahooligan section makes it super fun. Like it's a smaller atmosphere than the men's games are. So we are a little sillier and we get to be a little more kind of ourselves, which I think makes all the difference. And so like, if you're thinking of going to a game this season, like I could not suggest the women's team enough, because it really, I think, is prime Chattahooligans being Chattahooligans, and just beautiful. Also, there's less flopping in the women's games. Just want to say.
That's because murder is legal in women's soccer.
Exactly.
It is way more physical.
It's ridiculous.
I don't.
They.
I wonder why so many ACLs are happening in the women's game.
I wonder why.
Crazy. So yeah, anyone looking to go out for a game, it's worth
And
it.
the goalkeeper chant was on point for this game.
The goalkeeper chant was on point, but I would like to mention, y'all came up with some halftime goalkeeper chants. I'm appalled. How dare y'all?
What did we miss? What did I miss?
Oh, we
I
just wanted to.
was sitting in the back, so I didn't hear
So they
it.
changed goalkeepers at half.
I know. The
and
new
we wanted to
Gray
do.
Mare was awesome.
We wanted to do 50 Shades of Grey.
No.
Appalling. Appalling.
Yeah, that's why we run these things through committees.
No, Breezy.
I mean, by the way, that wasn't my original idea. I supported it. It wasn't my original idea. I thought it was funny.
There were like 6 of y'all that were like, yeah, we have to do this. We have to do this. What were y'all on?
More like 50 Shades of Grey.
No.
New Gray Mare was good though.
Yes,
Gray
New
Mare.
Gray Mare was fine. That's
New Gray Mare
fine.
came-
Whatever.
We've never done New Gray Mare before. I don't
Yeah,
think that came out of Old Gray
yes.
Mare. Anyway, we had a good time. It's the reason we do it by committee. It's always a vote, and we got outvoted. we turned Ellie into an old Italian lady.
I was gonna say,
She was
like,
"Hey!"
y'all came up to me, and there were way too many of y'all in support of that. I was surprised no one else was like, you're right. No. Like,
I think you
what?
should. I think you should think about why everyone else was in favor of it and you weren't.
Pigs, all of you.
That. Literally that. Period.
It was so funny.
A little housekeeping on the podcast coming up. We have a special interview coming very
Allegedly,
very
don't
soon.
jinx it.
And the only breadcrumbs I will leave is that Old Gray Mare is pretty close.
Oh no! Boo!
That's bad. Apologies in advance.
Crickets. All
Horrifying.
right, I think this is a good place to stop. Listeners, viewers, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. If you are watching on a platform that allows likes, comments, and subscribes, we would really appreciate it. It makes us, like all podcasters, very happy. We'll be back with more episodes soon. Ellie is now off of school, so I'm hoping that we'll do some women's team interviews, maybe. Cross our fingers. And we're also neighbors right now. So she's literally 3 doors down. Insert 3 doors down music here. Thank you guys. We will see you Friday. It's going to rule. Don't miss it. Peace.